giving the call to the member for Flinders.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Australians are struggling with cost of living pressures. Australians can rightfully feel duped by this government. My constituents in Flinders are rightfully feeling misled. They were promised the world in terms of cost of living redress, and they have received none. I think you call this in the common vernacular bait and switch. They thought they'd bought one thing and they've got something quite different in return. This month we saw the 5th consecutive cash rate increase from the Reserve Bank. At 2.35%, this is Australia's highest official interest rate since the mid-2010s. The rate is rising at the fastest pace since 1994, almost 3 decades ago. For an Australian household with an average new mortgage of around $600,000, that will mean monthly repayments that have increased over those 5 interest rate increases by about $760 a month. These people want to know that there is a plan that makes sense for them and supports the challenges they're facing in their everyday living and meeting their everyday costs, but we have not yet seen any of that from this Albanese government. Earlier this year, the price of oil skyrocketed to almost $120 US a barrel, with prices at the pump reaching stratospheric levels. The coalition government took action and halved the fuel excise to 22.1 cents a litre back in March. This was a sensible solution to inflationary pressures, the war in Ukraine and supply chain issues caused by the COVID pandemic. Despite the fact that the price in oil has dropped to less than $80 US per barrel, prices remain high and it is hitting Australian families and businesses hard. Just last week in the southern Mornington Peninsula, we saw prices of fuel by a litre go up from about $1.50 to about $1.95 yet again. And then tomorrow night we will see the excise reimposed and it will get much harder for families to meet the weekly fuel bill. The Treasurer's words have been, "We're under no illusions this will be difficult for people. It's a difficult decision for us to take as well." But this brings very little comfort to those who are trying to work out how they're going to pay their weekly fuel bill. Some may say there is a solution. Take the public transport, take the bus, take the train. Well, that is not an option for my constituents in Flinders. Every single workday, roughly 50,000 people get in their car to go to work. Even more get in the car to go to the school drop, visit friends or family, or head out and do their local shopping. And even though the Mornington Peninsula is technically metropolitan Melbourne, 82% of our landmass has absolutely no access to public transport whatsoever, meaning the car is the only way to get things done. My constituents don't really have a choice. They need to get to work, they need to get to school, and they need to get to the shops, and the car is how we do it. Alongside fuel prices, we are seeing wholesale energy prices go up, causing additional stress in the average household. We all remember those opposite saying to anyone who would listen through the campaign that they were going to reduce their power bills. In fact, the Prime Minister promised to cut the power bills by $275, and I've heard from someone today, $275. I am waiting for my cut too, exactly. Maybe he said it 97 times, somebody else said today he said it 100 times. Was it 97, 98, 99 or 100? Whatever it is, I haven't seen it exactly. And while they now say, look, we meant that over the long term, in fact I heard an interjection earlier saying by 2025, it's of little solace to the parents opening their power bills when they get home at night, the pensioners who thought they had saved enough for a comfortable retirement, now wondering what they will have to go on, what they will have to do to keep the lights on. What Australians need from this new government is a clear and comprehensive plan to deal with the cost of living. We do not need more bland commentary from the Treasurer or the new Prime Minister. We need to see some real action. The Australian Competition Consumer Commission will be keeping a close eye on this. That is indeed their role. A letter from the Treasurer reminding them of this is not government policy and should not be treated as such. The Treasurer says he'll be handing down a bread and butter budget. We all know what Labor's real bread and butter looks like: big spending and higher taxes. These issues will continue to flow through to each household budget over some time. This country cannot afford for Labor to make this worse. Australians need to see a clear, comprehensive and whole-of-economy plan from the government to deal with inflation, rising interest rates and cost of living pressures. We cannot afford Labor to be asleep at the wheel or dig deeper into Australian savings.